Good morning this afternoon, yellow self-existing warriors. Let's explore. It's a little late in the day for me. It's not early morning, and it's already been feels like it's been a draining morning. I'm not arriving with a lot of enthusiasm, even though on my way home, when the warrior communicated with me, I got into a lot of beautiful enthusiasm. Where do we start? We're in the wave spell of the Red Skywalker. First of all, there's something I noticed that I absolutely love. I'm not sure I'm going to investigate this or just leave it up to anyone who's in the system to investigate for themselves. The White World Bridger has been following us every day in this wave spell. It has joined us, it has been our companion every day in a different position. So the 4 positions, except its own kin, being the World Bridger, has been transitioned by us with the World Bridger present, from the Skywalker through the Wizard, where it was Guide, the Eagle, where it was Occult, and today, an Antipod position. The furthest away from the Warrior. I apologize if I'm going to be a little slow today. Sometimes I think I should apologize for speaking like a speed train. It feels as though sometimes I'm just like too fast for my own thinking. Today I feel decidedly slow. It's very interesting once again to observe my mind, to make up explanations as to why that is. Why I feel tired, why I look tired, why I feel a little slow, why I don't feel 100% as enthusiastic as I do on other days. And of course enthusiasm feels so much better, so it's like, here am I doing what I always say, be careful not to do that, which is build up resistance to a state of being instead of really flowing with it, which takes me straight to the second seal, the second archetype, which we have had now up until tomorrow, 4 days in a row also, starting from the Lunar Wizard, starting from 3 days ago. It's been the serpent. It is the serpent. Lunar Wizard, the serpent is in the analog. What did I say yesterday I was going to call the analog? The right-hand man, the wing man. And yesterday in the eagle, it was the occult. Today it's yesterday it was the antipod. Today is the occult. And tomorrow, Red Earth, it's the guide. So, and it's like this every time we go through the Skywalker's wave spell. So to me, it's like I'm exploring this state of wakefulness. I'm wakefully exploring. I'm not asleep. This relationship so early in the Skywalker. In the first 5 seals, they say the first 4 combine into the 5th. So today we're on the 4th. And these 4, if you followed, they combine into tomorrow's Earth, Red Earth. The center, the 0.5 overtones, tone 5 overtone stands for radiate center command. So it's like the radiant command center of the Skywalker. So to be in that center, we need these four to be fully properly in it. And the self-existing tone today, form, measure, is it defined? Ding, 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 ding. Let me be very accurate around that. Yeah. Define, measure, form. It's the form giving. So self-existing. If we need to stabilize a system to the point that it can self-exist. And the first time we do that in the dragon wave spell on the seed, and the warrior I want to talk about seed potential, our seed thoughts, the manifestation of seed thought. We're still getting there on tone 12 with the seed. But the yellow pulsar in this, which means all the yellow signs together in this wave spell, are the warrior, the sun, and the seed. And that's a very, interesting combination. All the combinations are interesting. But wait a minute, I'm sidetracking. Tone 4, self-existing. I know I want to go back to the serpent showing up 4 times, and the death showing up 4 times, and the serpent. Wait, now I'm jumping around. Bear with me. The serpent is the tone, not the tone, the seal in which the Skywalker transcends. So it all moves. The whole process of the Skywalker culminates in the presence and transcendence of the serpent, our body, the systems in our body. I've asked the question, and I'm asking it again today, and I think to me it's a very worthy question. What, and this warrior today is guided by the yellow human. Humans represents free will, influence, wisdom. So how the goal being, first of all, health, optimal functioning of the body. Another goal is, to me, what is this body? I come out of a paradigm like, I guess all of you, who is ever listening, we're still sort of relieving that paradigm very gradually. We're opening it, of having a biological understanding of the body. There is a very different ways to understand the body. It's kind of like opening the biology to something more, which is to me the same as opening the third dimension to the multi-dimensions, which is not, we're still in the third dimension. The third dimension is part of the 5D, and 5D is all D, because 5D is the opening. 5D, the fifth dimension, is already the opening to all of the other dimensions. You're already in all the other dimensions. You can then identify them if you want to, whatever. So going from broadening our understanding livably through the cosmic wind, we can become maybe mentally or spiritually aware of this multidimensional being, but through the body, through the serpent. It's really the body, it's really our biology, our DNA. It is already in part multidimensional. So we are that. We're not growing that. We're not planting the seeds to become that. We already are that. We are realizing that we are that. The Skywalker, depending on the state of consciousness of the individual, the Skywalker we as Skywalkers explore what we explore. An architect would explore, so it doesn't have to be the state of consciousness, it can be the state of interest, whatever. As an architect would explore forms of architecture, massage therapists, different forms of massage therapy. We may not want to stay with what we know and what's familiar. We may want to explore new ground. The Skywalker, if we're already in heaven, it's a very interesting concept which also question. If we already arrived and everything works, how long can we stay stable and static without introducing anything new? To me, I like exploring new ground, and I like also to explore what I already know. And where am I going? Yeah, skywalking. The first 4 seals, the body I've covered. The first 4 seals, magnetic skywalker, attract, unify, purpose. What is our purpose for this skywalking process? I refer anyone who's not listened, please listen to the Cosmic Human 5 days ago. I personally love these quotes that I read out. We are process, and the process of the Skywalker is the wave. He has the particle structure of what we call the oracle image of the 4 kins around the center kin, the Skywalker, and his 3 permanent musketeers. The magnetic Skywalker is self-guided, is guided by the Skywalker. Or maybe other Skywalkers, the higher self of Skywalkers, of Skywalking. In Lakesh Alakin, there's no out there. Out there is no other, there's only one. But, and then we have the wizard, this magician who either tries to, in the shadow of the wizard, sits and is the lunar position. So for the Skywalker, and this is my question, how much do we influence the body, its processes? How much do we need to know about it? How much is just fun to know? How much is interesting to know, to then have a conscious saying, like consciously influence, like, now I know how the flushing works. Now I know fascia is liquid, may make it much easier for me mentally to connect with the fluid structure of my fascia and to communicate with my cells. Do I need to know this? Or can I just say to the cellular structure in general, please function optimally. Please, you know how it's done. I don't need to interfere. Any of my interference is most probably going to hinder the perfect functioning. So that's my question. And the wizard in the lunar position in this wave spell is very much, can I just acknowledge the magic and flow with it and explore the magic as a witness, which automatically, in the exploration of life, everyday living, will automatically always take me to the places where I want to optimize, where I think this could be better. I don't even have to ever think that. It's just so natural to optimize. I spoke about that yesterday, that there's a point beyond which too much optimization becomes detrimental. So we need that experience to understand, hey, how much is really healthy? Now we need to move. How much do I have to move my body for its natural functioning? How much can I say, please, body, can you move yourself? Can you just do it yourself? Why do I have to be involved? But it's so comfortable just to sit around all day and live in my head and I'm not moving enough. Why is the system Can it happen to me that the system is going out of balance and I'm not aware of it? Then I have to consciously intervene, even if the body says to me, you're not moving enough, I'm starting to hurt in places, or whatever the case may be. Now I have to, what is my responsibility? And as the Yellow Human Guide today, I want to ask, where's the wisdom? What's my relationship with the body that I can really be the kind of human? Who am I? How do I live? And would it all work naturally if I didn't have these bloody, I call them bloody, patterns, thought patterns, behavioral patterns, belief patterns? They also form geometric structures that are interference patterns with the natural work of my body. I want to give an example. Wait, I want to go just complete this wizard. Am I going to sidetrack myself if I complete it? Can I do a short completion? Let me try. So the wizard can be too much interfering, creating a magic. Here comes my example. Wait, let me go to the eagle. The eagle on the tone 3, vision, create, mind. So I asked after my responsibility. The eagle yesterday was guided by the storm. My God, we have the sun in this wave spell on position 8, reminding us of last wave spell and testing the integrity of ourselves. Have we integrated the sun in ourselves properly? Tone 8, galactic. Now I'm really staying with our humanity. I'm not able to take the Tzolk'in in my own explorations into really being a galactic human, like really going telepathically connecting with other beings in the galaxy, blah, blah, blah. Others can do that. I'm sure there are podcasts out there where people do exactly that. I am absolutely not on that level, clearly. I haven't come across those. I'm still battling, oh God, I hate that language, with my own humanity. I'm skywalking my humanity and my relationship with my body because spiritually speaking, I'm incarnating into the flesh. That's my process. I'm not the flesh becoming a spiritual being. I don't need to explore my spirituality. That's a given. I need to be having this cooperation with the body work, and then some, and then see how does the cooperation with what is this mind, spirit, body trinity expressing in life, and what part am I in the greater human system? What's my function here? What's my service here? And then do I have to decide that? I guess so. I get to decide that. It's God's will and my will, the higher will is one. Then there isn't a lower will. Oh, I'm not going there. So I wanted to make an example. How, like straight from today, I am given a facial cream, a pretty decent company, hyaluronic acid, blah, blah, blah. Passionately being told by the person who gave it to me, who is 15 years older than myself and in our age, and we have to, and because, and the skin dries, and you have to, and dun. I'm listening to this, and I'm going into split mode. I notice, this has happened many times. Part of me is like, I want to resist that programming. Part of me is aware, she comes out of a field, she triggers my own, I too am living in this field, the morphogenetic field, where certain beliefs, obviously, if I look around me, people women, people, what is happening with wrinklage with our skin as we progress in age. It's all around me. The evidence is all around me. Am I going to look at that evidence and say, yes, that is what it is? I call it dragging. Am I going to throw my past in front of me? Am I going to throw the collective decisions that have led to collective results of the faces I look at where I see progressive wrinklage? Am I going to let that? What choice do I have? Am I going to let that determine what my body expresses? Do I have a choice? Do I not have a choice? Is it wisdom to surrender and say, hey, this is what's happening in this day and age? I can plant seed thoughts. We don't need to develop that we can stay. The body, the DNA has the programming. It is meant to auto-generate indefinitely. So if it now isn't auto-generating appropriately, if the telomeres are shortening, if all of that is happening, if we're displaying these kinds of signs of aging that are, the visual aging doesn't need to be a big issue, but the functioning aging is an issue, since it restricts mobility, it restricts expression of spirit. Perhaps spirit wants to express in a rollator as an 80, 90-year-old in diapers, demented, whatever. Maybe spirit is a desire of spirit to express that. I'm going to have a word with spirit about that. But it doesn't matter, because here I am. What choice can I make? What choice do I have to make? So as this is all happening in an instant in me, as this cream is given me, and as I'm being told I have to put this on twice a day, and a part of me wants to reject it all and say, please don't interfere with my process. Another part of me pipes in and says, I don't want to upset her and put like a hard barrier there. A part of me says, well, what if I'm wrong? What if what she is bringing to me is exactly what I need? I'm reminded of the parable of the man who so believed in God that he ended up drowning because he rejected everyone who came when the floods came into his village or whatever, and they came to rescue him, and he rejected them all, saying, no, 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 God is my savior, and I believe, and I'm staying here. God will pull me out of this. And then he dies and asks God, like, why didn't you? I believed so much in you. And God says, did you notice I sent you this rescue? I sent you the boat. I sent you the helicopter. So here I am thinking, is this God sending me the facial cream? Saying, bitch, put it on. Or what am I doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And how do I get to that answer? And Bashar says, you have to decide. So I have to decide. Yellow Human says, free will, influence, wisdom. And I know quantum physics says particles collapse from superposition. Quantum superposition collapses a particle based on an observer. The interesting thing is the observer isn't always human. Particles collapsed long before humans existed. Or did they? Perhaps there is no past. We are creating the past as we speak. There is no past. Oh God, I'm seeing it. Oh fuck, I'm seeing it. There's only this. There's only this moment. There never was a yesterday. I didn't talk yesterday. How is this possible? I did talk yesterday. Wait. Fuck. it's all created in the now. It's like the now creates the illusion of the yesterdays in which I created all the other podcasts. It's the eternal now in which it gets created. And now it is stored as something that is now remembered as a past. Now for me, I have a timeline as this human. So I seem to have this memory, and there seems to be physical evidence that yesterday has happened, that the days have happened, and that there is the podcast from all the other days, and there's a timestamp. If we're now going into periods long before our own time, the timestamp is, take the pyramids. The pyramids were built long before the civilization, this planetary, when were they built? There's no one on this planet seemingly alive who can say, I have the stories told to me from my ancestors of the ancestors who built them. I can tell you, my ancestors somewhere, how many generations back then, built them, and the stories have been told and they have come through to me to this day. I haven't heard this. If that exists and is suppressed, possible. I haven't heard this. So anyway, what am I doing? It doesn't matter. We're living in linear time. We're living in whether the past exists or not. To this moment, it's how relevant is it? How relevant is the past to the future? Because what am I skywalking? What are we skywalking? We are obsessed with our future. Wait a minute. We're obsessed in this Western world with our past, and we're obsessed with our future. It's very interesting. In other cultures, growing older is not considered a problem. In the Western culture, it has become a problem. It really has become a problem. In a way, as that the way we're aging, whatever's happening to our bodies and our minds, whatever causes this demise and becoming physically and mentally disabled, a lot of our aged population in the Western world is disabled. Dementia, Alzheimer's, that's a mental disability. And being unable to move yourself anymore is a disability, whether it comes through a stroke or a series of strokes or through just a very, very gradual not moving enough, whatever it all is that lands us there. In other cultures, that does not exist. People age and they have something, maybe they do look different to a 20-year-old, but they're not disabled. They may not run as fast, but I have seen very old people dancing just as intensely as a 20-year-old. So what is this aging process? We really need to investigate that. And what is causing this? So there is maybe a rightful obsession with what we want to create in the future, what we want to have, and how much lack in the presence do we live that we're so obsessed with what we want to do. And we have created this culture in an indigenous tribal culture. It isn't a question at the age of 16, what do you want to become? What you're going to do with your life? It's just a natural progression. In childhood already it shows what your propensities are. If you have two left hands, so to speak, you're not likely going to be the next potter. If you don't know how to, if you're like really the musician, it's going to show that you are the musician. You may not be the hunter. You may be both, but you may not. So if you're the healer, you may also not be the hunter. You may be the musician and the healer. You may be, it shows very early on. And therein lies your life path. in our modern society, it's often very different. So to skywalk, we're in many ways reaching we're in this shift. So we're reaching a kind of a very obvious end, a transition, world bridger. This society, this global society is not going to wipe itself out as it may have done in the past. It has happened in the past. I have it on good faith that it's not going to happen this time. And there's many of us who are envisioning a future for humanity on the planet that is very different to what we're living now. And we're also individually envisioning a future for ourselves. Every child does envision, to some degree, its future with excitement. Anyone in their early 20s still does too. At some point, the settling into a job, settling into a family often diminishes the possibilities or options we still see for ourselves. And in this diminishment, maybe lies a key to the way we're aging. We become set in certain ways. We take the same route to work every day. We lock into the same behavioral patterns. The way we get up, the way we go to the bathroom, the way we make our breakfast, the way we dress, the way we go to work, the movements, patterns we do at work, mentally and physically, the way we go home, the way we structure the evening, it's all repetitive. And there's comfort in this repetitiveness, but there's also a great danger perhaps in it, that there's not enough something new coming in. And then we can very easily become fearful of the new, fearful of getting hurt, fearful of disappointment. As a kid, you just like head on into everything. You fall in love, you learn to ski, you fall, you hurt yourself over. It doesn't matter how many times you hurt yourself as a kid, you don't start walking around usually fearful of falling. It heals and you move on, because life is fun and life is playful. And this is a quality we so need to retain all the way through life. Never ever to lose that. There's a saying from the Native Americans. I mean, God, probably everyone has this saying. If the child in the man dies, the man dies. Or something like that, is dead, whatever. It's like death takes many forms, many forms. Physical death isn't the thing that we think of it as being. I don't need to go back there. But dying, and we've had the world bridger, White Death, so intense, four days in a row in the Skywalker. The ability to die, the ability not to die, the ability to integrate the new, to let go of the old, the ability to keep on going, the ability to remain playful. Where is the monkey? The monkey is attached to the star, the dog and the human. And then, of course, it's a guide. I'm going to see which seal, if there's a blue guy seal in this thing. Oh, go away. Yeah, exactly. The storm, the resonant storm in this wave spell coming up, tone 7, is guided by the monkey. Oof, 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 oof. Yesterday we were guided by the storm, auto-generation, this ability to, heard a beautiful thing, freedom. The storm represents freedom, and the freedom to be auto-generated, self-generated, the freedom exactly not to be determined by karma, determined by past, beyond that which we choose. So back to the wrinkleage of age, to close a circle. What do I need to let die? What need I not let die? Where's this playfulness of the monkey that retains my childhood innocence, the innocence to understand I am an eternal child. Just because I have a body that is adult, do we need to follow this trajectory that has been lived and that we believe every human has to live? Yes, there is a birth. Yes, at some point there is a so-called death. We enter the physical form. We will leave the physical form. But can we understand, or can we collectively plant the seed? It's already happening. That we choose when that is. After 90 years, after 900, or after 9,000, it doesn't matter. Because linear time, how long do you want to be here? It's up to you. And you can rebirth yourself into a biological child anytime you want, and we're doing it even while we're still in an adult body. We just don't really have the access to these experiences. I spoke at length about that yesterday in my deleted, I think, piece there, where I believe I can have access to experiences in other bodies that I don't have in this body at this time. And to me, that's completely natural. It hasn't always been so, but I thought seeded that. I built that mental construct. It's a bit of a mental construct, and it has to be, because I only have this I that speaks through this body, has only this third dimensional body, limited. There cannot be an I speaking through this mouth telling you about having the experience of the opera singer that I have not yet become and will probably not become in this body form. But I made a whole long story about that. But I can experience that. And I can experience it in dream time. But there's a whole different chapter. I went on about it yesterday. I got lost. I will lift it again another day. The warrior, the freedom, the warrior, they call it the ferryman staff. It represents the ferryman ferrying us from where to where. We choose our journey, or does karma propel us? If karma propels us, well, you become a shoemaker because your father was a shoemaker, and all your life you've been told you're going to be a shoemaker. You don't even have a decision. Are you saying, yeah, I love that. I love shoemaking. My father was a shoemaker. I want to be a shoemaker. Everything is great. That's great. Or are you saying, I have no choice but to be the shoemaker. We all are faced with, how much choice do we even want to be faced with? Yellow human, guiding this. And the ferryman staff, where's the peace? I'm going to go into myself a little bit, my unpeace. The serpent is very present 4 days in a row. Now, between the storm and the who are the musketeers of the yellow warrior, the world bridger in the antipod, the serpent? They're both present here today, like they were yesterday. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wizard, serpent, lunar wizard, 2 days ago, world bridger serpent present. Eagle, world bridger serpent present, and a beautiful seed. Anyway, never mind. Today, serpent and world bridger present. Tomorrow is only the serpent, no more world bridger, and on the magnetic skywalker was only the world bridger, no serpent. But here for 3 days, we're world bridger and serpent together. And serpent is always 1 day before the world bridger in the cycle of 20. And it's the next wave we're going into. The significance of this, oh my gosh, this connection to the world bridger, death, opportunity, equalizing. Now today, and the serpent, Kundalini, life force, instinct. I find it, I don't know enough about instinct now. It does need to be updated. Anyway, the warrior, intelligence, question, fearlessness. I notice frequently my fight or flight response kicks in as if it kicks in the background, and it actually, I'm noticing it's not a freeze, which is very nice for me because I'm like mostly a freeze person, but now I'm noticing as I'm healing through my own, removing the block patterns, such as going into freeze, which disables decision making, disables movement, the freeze state. When it becomes automatic, you can override it with kind of like, call it robot mode. You're still functioning, you're still moving, but the part of you is no longer alive. World bridger, death. Part of you can die when the freeze mode or the pretend you're dead mode kicks in, like an animal that pretends it's dead so that it doesn't get preyed upon, right? So that can become permanent. Then the instincts aren't working properly. Instinct tells you, oh, there's danger, go into flight mode or into pretend you're dead mode. And I'm noticing in myself this last couple of days, my Skywalker, whatever I set as my intention, my unified purpose in the Skywalker, I'm not going to go back there, I know what it is. So now I'm very aware of what that is. I'm walking consciously with myself through this process, very similar to the blue hand in a way, for me anyway, since it's centered on my healing. Because as long as this is active, I'm not going to be, I don't know, it's going to interfere with my creator processes. And I fearlessly have to question, why am I going? I'm noticing the flight mode. My flight response starts. It kicks into my solar plexus. I'm starting to feel uneasy, very subtle. I start feeling it in my shoulders. I start feeling a certain mini tension creep in. And the next step is it kind of arrests me if I let it. I can function, but it blocks creator mode. It blocks full expression of my being. And the full expression of my being in the Skywalker certainly is a fully functioning red serpent. So if my instinct is kicking in a response that says, freeze, there's a danger, and my mind can't override this by saying, but there isn't a danger. What are you fucking freezing about? What are you wanting to run away from? Your own imagination. Tatiana, you think somewhere there's a fundamental problem in your life. I can see exactly what that is. Aging might be one of those as well. If I look at that as a fundamental problem, I may think I'm powerless to tackle it, and I might go into freeze mode. Aging is a bad example. For me, another example is much more powerful. It's too close to home to speak out loud about it. I don't want to. I choose not to. But I have it. I have my eye on it right now. And that thing is so pervasive. I don't want to say all pervasive because that really isn't a good place. But I'm getting goosebumps. But if my inner serpent, if something in me instinctually, or if my mind thinks this is really a problem, I once learned this about the brain. The frontal cortex and the reptilian brain have very different functioning. And the reptilian brain is not updated. It doesn't understand this modern world. It doesn't understand the danger of a car. It doesn't understand the danger of a thought. It only understands danger and then fight, flight. It kicks in your body's response that a mother can lift a car to rescue her child. That is what the reptilian brain does. It mobilizes the body into absolutely survival. It's a superpower, but it is an overdrive in this modern world, because the brain can tell us, the frontal cortex can tell us, my boss is giving me that angry look, oh shit, maybe I'm going to risk my job. Or my brain might tell me, if I don't cook dinner right, my partner is going to be really angry, and then I'm going to like some terrible response. In my childhood, I have learned if I don't behave properly, I'm going to get a hiding, and that's really bad. Or worse, even my brother is going to get the hiding. I don't get the hiding. That's even worse. Someone else suffers because of me being careless, playful, laughing too loud. Being alive means danger. I'm going to say it out loud. It's a terrible lesson many of us have learned, including me. And a lot of these patterns are still active, and then the serpent kicks in: fight, flight, freeze, stop being alive. Death and the serpent, and the wisdom of the yellow human today. So the instinct, the frontal cortex needs, the frontal cortex, for example, cannot produce feelings by itself. It needs emotions are produced by another part of the brain. Limbic brain, let me not confuse things. I would have to look it up now. But the thinking brain can't produce the emotions, but it likes the good feelings. So it needs to give good feeling thoughts to that part of the brain which can produce those. That's where addictions come in. If I'm constantly in thoughts of danger, I'm going to start kicking the part of the brain that produces hears the danger, produces chemistry in the body that is meant to motivate the body to move away from the danger. So it needs the frontal cortex to, like, do we have to run away from all these frowning faces because they signal danger? Or empaths, that's exactly the problem of empaths. This is really going to be a long video. Empaths signal, they've learned to register certain signals as danger because that's what's been dangerous in their childhood. And that's how they survived. So if that doesn't get updated, we're going to walk around, we receive the signals. It's unconscious, because in order to be effective, it has to be unconscious. It has to be done in split seconds. We don't have the capacity. We have to eat, we have to behave, we have to go to school, we have to do things, and we have to pretend we are normal. So in the child, everything runs and everything gets absorbed super fast into the unconscious, and there it all runs on autopilot, which is the way it's meant to be. Blue storm, auto-generation. This is autopilot. This is what we want. But if this instinct is running faulty, if you will, or keeps us in survival mechanisms, but they're out of date, we can't function. If we're in social situations and we're picking up the clues from other people surreptitiously, that they're out of alignment with themselves, maybe they're stressed, maybe they're, and we think, oh, danger, we have to appease them, we have to change ourselves, danger, 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 then social interactions becomes very stressful and very tiring. But it's the instinct that kicks in that is misinterpreting the situation. And if we don't even understand that consciously, we're like, but everything is fine. Why is this reaction in me? And then maybe we're repressing that reaction in ourselves because the frontal cortex says, no, situation is calm, I'm among family, everything is fine. And that it causes such imbalances in the system. The system will kick in these hormones and those hormones and this and this and that. And how is the body supposed to cope with that? And then we look out the window and we look into people and we see people above 50. How many in the Western world are healthy, fit, functioning? And then look at the over 60-year-olds, look at the over 70-year-olds. Where are we at with that? If we look at some of the, I mention no nations' names, you see sick children are over half of the children are on medication. Like, what the fuck is up with that? And they're coming in showing us our imbalance. Children are perfect mirrors of that. They reflect the truth of the family. They reflect the true imbalances in the parents, in the family. And what do the parents do? Oh, medicate the child so it functions. So it's calm and no ADHS, and so it's this and this and that. Oh, how far do we have to take this until we understand, wait a minute, what is the autism, there's a functioning autism. Autism is probably like a really great new software update in our humanity. But if that is not expressed in a healthy, functioning way, and it becomes dysfunctional autism, where does this dysfunctional autism come from? Too many vaccines, or too little vaccines, or what is the story? Are we interfering with it too much? Are we causing it? What is going on? And we need to investigate. And we need to investigate free from fucking financial interests of an industry. We need to have the freedom to investigate what is the human. We need the warrior. We need the fucking Tolkien. So that we can be healthy, But in the meantime, we do it for ourselves. And what does it mean? How do I get to be my best self? That is an important question. How do I be in creator mode and leave my own imagined and inaccurate survival modes? There's my instinct not functioning properly. That instinct will absolutely kick in properly if I'm suddenly faced with a Bengal tiger. I will know exactly what to do. And I will probably be eaten, because no matter what I do, I will not survive. If I freeze, it will eat me. If I run, it will eat me. But so be it. Then the instinct will also make it so that that being eaten process isn't actually going to hurt, because I'm going to surrender and die instantly. Probably my heart will stop from shock, and then I'm dead, and the Bengal tiger will eat me. It has to be, because it prefers live food. So I give myself over and I say, eat me, and all is well. Can I have that same attitude with some of my unconscious bloody programming, where I am going, unbeknownst to myself, into these freeze modes? Do I not dare to advertise myself as a massage therapist in a way that gets me where I want to get with this thing? Or do I just not want to get anywhere with this thing? What's the story? Am I making a conscious decision? Or is my unconscious programming making the decision for me? And then what do I do with that? What do I do with that? Because very often this is the serpent, yeah? It's lodged. It's like really locked. I don't want to use any language that's going to make it unchangeable. Everything is changeable. Neuroplasticity, we know about it. But I still have to acknowledge it may not be as simple as I might want it to be to reprogram. But how do we reprogram? And there's so many ways to reprogram. Somatic, blah, blah, all this somatic stuff that is teaching us now, reprogramming through the fasciae system, reprogramming through somatic experiencing, reprogramming through new ways of communicating, reprogramming the autonomous nervous system. And it's autonomous because it acts on its own. You cannot override it with thought. So you can't think your way out of, I'm not afraid of heights. I know, logically speaking, this is stupid. I'm going to go right up there. Your system is going to go like freak out. There is no way you're going to override that. No way. So, but there is a way to override it. So we have to learn it. But if I'm not even aware that I'm being governed by automatic programming, well, then it's very easy to also, what we are so accustomed to doing is blaming ourselves or others. The blame thing, or like other things outside ourselves are responsible for anything that has anything to do with our lives. And therein lies a lot of growth, to take that responsibility back to ourselves. Not in a self-blaming way, but in a self-empowering way. In the Skywalker, the storm is resonant. It's the peak position in the middle. I mean, you could turn this thing any way you want, but it's the resonant tone and the storm on it. Very important. And then again, this connection with the storm and the sun. The sun being, this consciousness, this We've just been there. Our consciousness, everything in existence appears to be guided by this consciousness, whatever we define consciousness as. So some people, consciousness means like conscious awareness versus the unconscious, conscious versus unconscious. So consciousness means the conscious part of, like, day can mean 24 hours, or it can mean the light part of day versus the night part of day. Night is not day, but day includes night. Oh, but there's a day that does not include the night. So there's a conscious that does not include the unconscious, or is consciousness far beyond what human consciousness awareness is, you know? What collapsed the waveforms before, or the superpositions before human consciousness? The divine consciousness, spirit, what consciousness is that creates creation to begin with, that we are only a part of? Or is it within us that awareness that is aware of all awareness, that the fact that there is awareness, that there is everything that we can be aware of their being, and we can be aware of ourselves not being aware of probably an even vaster parts of existence that we just cannot be aware of compared to that which we can be aware of. So I'm going, what can I influence? Where was I? The storm, auto-generate, the serpent, cosmic serpent is where we're going in this wave spell. On tone 9 we have the dragon, birth, nurture, being. So again, it's supportive on the solar tone, very connected to the sun. The dragon is anyway connected to the sun, is the occult medicine of the sun, and the sun is the occult medicine of the dragon. So do we need to work this out? Do we need to understand this? How do we, the soul can teach us how to use our consciousness to influence, to heal our being, but our consciousness, it's not our thought. I cannot think override my fear of heights. But what about my state of consciousness? What does that mean? My state of consciousness will lead me to the methodology in this day and age, in this general state of consciousness that we're living in, how to override it. I don't know that we can, whatever, then there are these frequencies and the ability of the level of DNA that we can use, the percentage of DNA. We're currently, I think there are humans, I don't know that there are any humans on this planet. Apparently there were these masters who could activate up to, like, I don't know about 100% of their DNA, but like over 90%. They could, whatever, they could do, dissolve their body at will. Probably move their bodies to any space and time at will. It's a form of being, biological, and that we haven't got even probably quite the imagination to imagine. Oh, it's fun to do. But can I jump from the level I'm at to that 90? Or is that going to be do I just need to plant the seed of that being a seed intention? I want to be there. I want to live that. I want to live that as Tatiana. I want to live that ability to be the child. My nephew of 6 years old is just learning to ski. Had his first ski lessons last winter. And in this year, he's already skiing down hectic slopes with absolute ease. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be 5 again or 6. I want to learn this too. I didn't learn to ski. I'd probably break every bone in my body if I had to learn this now. But what is this? It's again a paradigm, I believe. Stupid. Can I call myself stupid for a moment with all loving kindness? Call out myself. Can you just seed? Can I seed intend to have that programming changed? Can I prove that to myself that they can be changed? Can I allow for more possibilities than the current going programming inside of me that is also prevalent? I'm aware of this, like I said earlier with my friend with the facial cream. Like, I'm aware of the programming my mother runs. My mother is deeply into facial creams. She'd be delighted if I passed on these facial creams to her. you know, but like, what are my decisions? And I have to make them moment by moment also to prove to myself that they work. If I say, well, if I make a decision now for in 60 years, what if it doesn't work? And then I regret that I didn't use the facial cream. Here comes another paradigm I'm building. Oh gosh, this is so complicated. Can we have it simpler? Can I sow the seed potential for simplicity? Man, this is like, oh, to me, this is skywalking at its best. I just really love this. Like, how do we use the tools that we have? And we don't know the half of it. Exploring the tools that we have and how to use them. How to use the mind. What is the mind good for? What is my dream, my night sleep dreams, what are they good for? What is my daydream good for? What is the alpha state, the beta brain state, the theta, the delta, the whatever? What are they good for? What are they good for? How do I use them? And why would I want to use them? To manifest what I want to manifest. That's what we're all here for. To live the life we came to live. Naturally. And then I ask myself, I'm going to add this in to close off. When I meet people, when I meet, like, what happens with us, nope, I'm having interference thoughts. I don't know where they're coming from, but I'm going to just heed them and not elaborate on that. We can skip this. I'm going to just have a last look at this gorgeous day. We have the blue night also today in the analog, dream time, intuition, abundance. I mean, I have been super abundant in this chat. I feel for myself, I bless myself abundantly with insight. And I know that a part of me, like I explained yesterday or 2 days ago about the quantum jump and how much more energy it needs not to revert back. I'm aware of myself in this reverting back. I can take myself in some elements, or I'm aware where I get to the inspired state and then something slips back. It's exactly that which I talked about earlier, where my instinct pulls me back. Something is dangerous. And something in my instincts tells me too much, being too brave, being too out there, going too far is dangerous. There's a reason I'm not doing video, because something in me tells me having my face and my identity out there is somehow dangerous. I admit that. I don't know why that is. I don't know. I'm not beyond or above that yet. I look at people on Instagram and everywhere, and they're all there with their face, and they're all doing their thing, and they're not worried about it, I guess. It's like, what am I worried about? What am I worried about? Yellow Warrior, guided by the human. It's really a good question. What are my fears? Why am I not fearlessly doing, let's say, a video? There is the rational thought, like, it isn't about me. Why do you need to see me? I'm not seeing you. Would it make it any better for you if you saw my face? I haven't yet got that feedback. Maybe if someone is so inclined to feedback on that, you can let me know. Maybe I'll take it into account. But there's something about, I'm getting an answer there right now, interestingly enough. And the fun part, which I really love about the warrior, I learned this a couple spins ago, or the warrior itself taught me this. The warrior asked the question. I used to twist my knickers in a knot trying to answer. And I realized you can't, I've mentioned this before, the place that asks the question is not the place that answers it. Yesterday my boyfriend said money doesn't flow to where it's needed. And Abram always says, like you can't get there from there. It's like the place of the question is the place of the question. It's not the place of the answer. Ask the question and then word bridger, death, equalize opportunity, let it go. The answer comes from somewhere else, another point in time. And that's a really easy, flowy process. It's much, much easier. I believe somewhere erroneously life is harder than it is. Some structure in me has learned aliveness, following my dream, just trying shit out is dangerous. I'm going to give an example here. I remember when I must have been 3 or 4 years old, and my brother, my cousin, and myself took some bamboo from the backyard, and we decided to build a house. I was so excited. I remember this like yesterday. Oh my God, we're actually going to build a house. We're going to build a real structure, or at least we're going to try. The bamboo is long enough. This thing, we're going to build a house. And they were both older. They were both 4 years older than me, 4 or 5 years older than me. So I was maybe, whatever, do the math. I got a nail, I got a hammer, and I got to nail together this structure. And of course, enthusiastically, I hit my nail. I started crying. I ran to my mom. And yeah, the response was such that I was not allowed to continue building that house. And that lesson, I'm going to share this moment with you, man. That lesson, it really stung. I'm going to just pick up that girl now for a moment there, because I have a feeling she needs something. That I was excluded. I got not a friendly response from my mom. I wasn't allowed to continue building. I felt, instead of actually saying, hey, no biggie, we put on a plaster, if it's bleeding, I don't know, you're going to have a blue nail, that nail's going to fall off. Just blow on it like we do with little children. When you get married, it's going to be gone. Don't worry about it. Just be a bit more careful. Now you know what happens. Go back out there and be careful. That would have been exactly the thing for me to learn that something. Like, I hurt myself, it's not the end of the world. Just continue building. And if I find I've hit my nail, I can no longer hold a nail. I hit my thumbnail. I can no longer hold a nail and a hammer because it hurts too much. Then I know for the next time. But this way, I learned, next time I hurt myself, I'm not even going to tell you, because it's just the consequences are so bad. I'm just going to go away from whatever. I don't know, whatever I learned. I have to ask this child what she learned. But it's not good. And, in many ways, like, we do this with children. We do this a lot. Oh, where do I still do that? I think I've adopted even that pattern in myself. You failed. I remember when I was 14. I'm not going to tell that story now, but I got to reflect on that for myself a little bit. What I learned there, I enthusiastically went for a position and then I got a depression, and I couldn't uphold my responsibility in the position I was having. like it was a political functioning. I grew up in East Germany, so we had these mini governments. You were trained early how to be, like being a diplomat's child. And I volunteered to be the leader of the little group government thing. I was like, yeah, I can do this. I felt like really good about that. And a few weeks down or months, I just got struck by depression and I couldn't cope. 13, teenage depression. I wasn't coping with. Plus, of course, I got to realize what we're doing here is probably it's just completely nonsensical. This isn't organic at all. Like, oh my God, we're playing a game that isn't fun. And I'm not getting a financial reward. There was no reward in it. Like you'd think, like later on you become a politician, you get paid for it. I don't know, some reward. I wasn't cut out for that thing. Anyway, but I learned another lesson, like don't take on a position of responsibility. You're going to fail at it. And then you let everybody down and you lose face. And you're a hopeless case. I never ever even told anyone about this. There wasn't any adult around who could have talked me through this, to explain to me what's happening, to explain to me why you're struggling, what are you experiencing, why are you overwhelmed with the situation, with the duties, or what is actually going on. And this was exactly also the time the wall came down. So even the adults around were all overwhelmed. The whole system just fell apart. Everything just fell apart. And it all got rolled into some crazy lesson for me where, like, I learned a hefty dose of disempowerment. And yeah, I'm very empowered in other ways, but in some ways, in the more worldly ways, I feel I'm not. And maybe it's time I start my new spin in my new life spin, my new big cycle in 2 years. I've got 2 years left of this, tone 12 and tone 13. I'm in 11 now. I'm dissolving, and now I'm liberating myself from, I'm seeing all the structures that stand in my way. I've got a few weeks left before my birthday that I'm going to be cosmic, crystalline dog, and I'm going to be sharing my love for all that I've learned in this life. It's going to be all love in the collective. Ha! Ooh, okay. Stop, Tatjana. And then, oi, thank you. Oh, beautiful. I gotta stop. My hands are freezing. I'm shaking with cold. I gotta eat because I'm throwing in here so much. I'm burning. This sun in me is burning so hot. I'm in a very different place from where I started. Thank you for listening if you made it this far. Thank you for talking through me, talking to me. I think the white wind in me, in my system, I humbly appreciate the white dog and the white wind. Who's guiding this crystal white dog next year? Dog. Oh, let it be the wind. Sorry, it is the wind. Lord have mercy. Thank you. Oh, I wish us all an inspired day. May the ferryman, our own spine, root us deep in the earth. May we be grounded in the beautiful, magnetic, hot, the core of the earth is as hot as the sun. So this magnetism between the sun and the earth is so perfect. May we know that we are conductor rods, or, I need to stop, I need to cough. When I've made it almost to my 114, but I'm now going over a little bit. May we know we are these conductor rods between our own heaven and our own earth, our body and our mind, the sky, all the gorgeous, wonderful beings that are non-terrestrial, humanoid or not, out there, that love us, that communicate with us, that are connected to us, that are We are the seed planet. We were seeded by them. We are their children. We are always showered with love. May we know this connection to with them and with us and the earth and everything. May we skywalk our own heaven, bring it on earth, understand it's touching our earth, it's touching our body, it's going into our body. There are caves in the earth that have air, that's the sky going right into the earth. There's the water that's like maybe air and sky. The water can go into the sky, right, in the form of clouds. May we know our own minds and bodies to be, and the storm is the electric rod, the electricity in the storm clouds and the electrons and the photons, and it's all happening inside our bodies. May we be balanced. May we know that if we intend for balance, the pain may increase. The pain of imbalance may increase, but it does so only to show us the imbalance. It does so only to help us, to guide us towards that place of balance that we have seen intended. Tatjana, may you remember this too. Thank you for listening. I wish you a wonderful, blessed, blessed day. Oh.